Hi, this is Brent with Theoretically Practical, and today we're going to take the staircase behind me and make it pivot. We're going to do that because for a while now this staircase has been more of a storage shelf, so it is not really good as a storage shelf, and it's even worse as a staircase now. Obviously we've got a carefully curated collection on here, including a cylinder head from the 1930s, 3/4 horsepower, ideal hit and miss engine. A hookah regulator that is broken, the base of a milling machine vise, and a 1950s Buick carburetor, just to name a few of the more important things on there. So we're going to be detaching it up at the top and putting a pivot there, and we're going to be using a Harbor Freight winch to lift and lower it. The other thing is, because of the width of the two-post lift here, we're going to have to make this whole staircase about 4 or 6 inches narrower. So without further ado, we'll clean up the mess so we have some room to work, and we'll get started. All right, now we're going to start the cleaning process, which will take a while and should be sped up. Alright, here are the basic supplies we're going to use for the project. Originally I was going to go with a rope and pulley system with like a cleat, and then the more I thought about it, the more I thought a winch would be more appropriate. And I picked this specific Harbor Freight winch instead of a boat winch because it needs to be driven up and driven down because of the worm gear action. So you can't, like with a boat winch, put it in neutral and let go of the handle and, break your knuckles, drop the staircase, and all the other lovely things that would happen in that circumstance. I don't actually plan on putting the handle on it. I've got this air ratchet that isn't a great air ratchet, but it probably has enough torque to drive that up and down. So I got this at a yard sale a while back. So that's what we're going to be doing with that. And then these two hinges here are going to be the pivot points at the top. In order to mount those, though, we're going to have to really brace the staircase up. And in a minute here, I'll show you what's good about the staircase and what's bad about the staircase, and really what we're going to have to change about the staircase. So next we got to remove these handrails. For whatever reason, this side's nailed on, and this side over here is lag bolted on. We'll have to figure out some way to replace them in the future, because I do like handrails, but it is my garage. I'm the only one going to be using the staircase, so it's I'm the only one that's going to get hurt when I inevitably fall off the side because I didn't put handrails on. So and apparently we got 1/2-inch lags at the top and 3/4 lags at the bottom and 3/4 bolts through here because, why not mix it up? Oh no, just in that one spot, it's also screwed together. Awesome. And it all goes on the floor. So apparently there was one more screw there that I missed, but I'm not sure who built this or what kind of drugs they were taking when they did, but that's an interesting array of fasteners if I've ever seen them. So, just to recap, because it's kind of hilarious. Holding together two posts and two 2x4s was one type of screw, a small lag, some longer lags, some bolts, and galvanized and ungalvanized nails. I just I'm honestly surprised there can be that many different fasteners used in one simple application, but I don't know. So now we gotta figure out how much narrower we need to make the staircase, because this is gonna be in the way if we left it at the same width. And we can't really just eyeball it because the bottom of the staircase isn't attached to anything and it can move all over the place. So we're gonna start by measuring this distance from the column out. And we're gonna say we really want 10 inches of clearance. Okay, that works out well. It's also a nice number that I can remember and do math from in my head. So we're going to measure from the top of the tower over to this. I think about 43.5. It's a little bit at an angle. I think that should be good enough because we're baking in a little bit of extra accuracy. So that's 33.5 from that header to the edge of this. So we'll go to the top. And we'll measure from the header over here, and we're at 35.25. We need to be at 33.5. So if you look at that, we need to cut the staircase, and I'll just go to 33 because I like even numbers, to this width here. So this whole piece has to come out, and everything has to be moved over and re-screwed down. So that's what we'll do next. All right, we got our measurement of 33 inches. We got our square right here. Got our tape measure. Let's just go mark them all out. Okay, that's all nice and laid out. I think what I'm going to do now is actually remove that outer one. I wanted to cut it with that in place, but I hope the line would be, closer to here, where I'd be able to just literally go down the staircase with the circular saw and do it. But I think this has to come out first, so let's see if I can find a nail removing tool somewhere. Whoa, did you look at that? After a little while looking around and not going to the hardware store and buying a brand new one because I got frustrated, here's a cat's paw. And while I wasn't at the hardware store, I also didn't get some 2-inch number 8 decking screws, which is what I'm going to use to put the whole thing together. I wouldn't promise that this is the right choice of screws to use, but it is the choice that I will make. So, if you've never used them before, cat's paw is actually a really handy tool for removing nails. In an application like this, a regular pry bar is going to be a lot more frustrating. So it's not that I didn't have one of these before I didn't go to the hardware store, but I don't know where it is. I'm not overly concerned about ripping up the wood because I'm going to cut the end of it off anyways, so I'm going to go hammer and tongs at this. And all the haters and naysayers that just wanted to watch me take a staircase out from under myself, to hell with you. All right, the next step here is we're going to trim down the sides of the staircase. And as you'll notice, ear protection, eye protection, YouTube. I see a lot of people really bad about this. You only got to protect your hearing if you want to hear anymore. This is coming from somebody who spent many years in loud industrial environments and can't hear worth a damn anymore. So All right, now I'm gonna take a look and see how these hinges are gonna line up and work for me. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Actually, so I'm gonna mount the hinges somewhere around, well, probably behind each of the two edge ones. And if I get paranoid later, I might put a third one in, but I suspect that'll cause them to bind. And across the back, got some of this high quality pressure treated 2x12, and gonna basically screw that across the back part of this of that to give it some strength from twisting, and to give it a place to mount these hinges to. I have 1/4-inch lags for these. I'm not going to use decking screws. That would be a bit foolish. So I'm going to put the brace there, and then I'm also going to put a brace of some sort across the bottom here. So the whole thing will be nice and stiff. I do plan to lift it just from this side, which is going to have a tendency to want to twist it, and that's why I'm putting those two big, nice, straight pieces across. Hopefully that'll counteract the twist enough, and if it doesn't, well, I've got more screws, I've got more wood, and we can keep going until it's good. So I'm just getting prepped to cut this piece of wood here. I got a couple of screws I'm going to extract violently. This little Sawhorse thing here, my father got it for me a few years ago for Christmas, and I thought it was the silliest thing I'd ever seen until I used it. And most of the time it actually works, especially when you put the lash in the right direction. It's just a really nice work holding piece, especially when you're doing stuff without a trim. You know, it's not as good as a full-blown device, but it'll get you a long ways. Okay, so we're going to attach that board on the back there. I've got these 2-inch screws, which are not the right length, but we're going to add in a couple of the lag bolts we pulled out of the staircase, and I'll say she'll be right. And as I put the last lag bolt in, that should do it. If Australia's taught me anything. Alright, now we got to mount the other part of the hinge, which is going to be a lot trickier to get right. Since I'm here by myself working on this, what I'm going to do is probably just muscle that up till it looks right, throw just a wood screw in the back of it, check and see how close I got. If I got good, then I'll put in a lag into there and then rotate the thing till it's at the right height and do the other side. And that should get me there, probably, eventually. So. Well, I found some valuable information, and that's you can just absolutely shear one of those lag bolts off. No trouble at all with the impact gun. So that's always nice. So I'm going to try to move them a little bit, see if I can get them to line up slightly differently. Okay, well, that seems to be that. Now let me pull out the support and we will see how well, or not well, the hinges work. Then, we can do the fun part. All right, we're gonna back the camera way up to about there, hopefully. And all right, we should have a staircase that pivots. And pivots right past that and up. And that's actually basically what I was trying to do. It's pretty sturdy. I think we can add some more strength to it, but actually, I think it's better than it was. So I'm going to go ahead and put a few more screws in the back and put a 2x4 across there. That should just help prevent it from twisting as much. I'm not sure how much good it'll do, but if I don't do it now, I probably never will. All right, now comes the fun part. We mount the winch unit, this guy, to the wall over there, and we're going to mount 2 of these pulleys on the ceiling, about there and about there. The pulley is just from Home Depot or Lowe's or somewhere like that. It says it has a safe working load of 480 pounds, which is way less than this business, so I'm not too worried about it. It also has room for 3, like I'm going to use the 1/4-inch lag screws on there, 3 of those to hold it up, so that should be plenty good enough. So first thing we need to do is figure out where to mount that lifting point. And what we're going to do, we're going to measure from the lower corner that you can't see right now. And this is kind of just a rough guesstimate. You just don't want, when it's fully lifted, you don't want the cable to be at a really tight angle. You want the eye to be where this is going to pivot up to. So from here to the pivot point is 110 inches. So what that means is if we come off the hinge, just wedge this back there, and come up to here at 110 inches, which needs a ladder. Then we should be going. What I did is measure from where I'm going to put the mounting lug on for the winch on the stairs, and measure to the pivot point, and then measure from the pivot point to the ceiling. That's just because once the thing is fully lifted, you don't want a huge angle on the lifting cable, because it just puts a ton more strain on it than might otherwise be on there, than it would be if it's pulled straight. I'll actually use my words. Alright, I got that pulley mounted up there, and just because I don't want to actually try to get the film angle down there, through the base of this bottom tread, I'm going to be bolting that. I'm just going to be putting a bolt on this side, a washer, another washer, and then I'm double nutting the other side to prevent it from slipping. This just lets me set the depth throw on it, get a good solid connection with the wood. Okay, we got everything mounted up and we're just about ready to give it a try. So we'll take a look down here, and that should be like that. You've got the hook and the eyelet ready to rock and roll, especially if I kind of get them situated right. You've got hinge number 1 way up there. You got hinge number 2 way up there. And then you've got the unit right there. And gotta be honest, I could not have cut that length of cable any more perfect for the application. So, and you just come over here when you want to get the thing out of the way, and 50% chance of going nope, wrong way. There we go. And right now is when the Space Odyssey 2001 song would play if it wasn't copyrighted. And that's all she wrote, apparently. Oh, I got hooked up there. So that's as high as it goes up, which is fine. I'm gonna back it off just a tickle. And there we go. I mean, I'm not a terribly tall guy, so it doesn't have to be terribly good, but even standing a foot up, I don't hit my head. It's out of the way. And you can see it gives me a whole bunch more room to fill up with shit. Actually, though, I'm going to probably move all this roofing material to my other pile of roofing material. I got an improbably large amount of spare roofing in this garage when I got it. And move some of the other stuff you see, just reorganize it, and so then I can get it a lot cleaner. I actually want to put my little milling machine right there, which I'll give you guys a better view of. We'll do another video on this when I'm ready to actually properly set it up and install the VFD and whatnot. That'll probably go underneath there so that it kind of just gets shut by the staircase when the staircase is down, but that's usable when the staircase is up. That's about it. I think the total cost of the project was like $30 for the winch with the cable on it. And then the miscellaneous other hardware was probably realistically another $100 or so, especially if you include the cat's paw that I totally didn't have to go to the hardware store and get. So this is a lot wobblier than I thought. But no one's going to be wobbling it or putting weight on it when it's lifted, so I suspect it's okay. I do see that the cable's rubbing on the side of the wood there and there. I might do something about it at some point. I might ignore it. I probably will ignore it. So, anyways, I guess that's all for now. This is Brent, and yeah, this is something I've been planning to do for a long time, but never quite had the ambition to do. So, thank you, YouTube. One more quick aside, for those of you that are interested how long this actually takes to do, I don't suppose that I'm a good enough filmer that it actually takes me any more time to film it, but I started this at around 11 a.m. and it's about 3 p.m. now. So I'd call this about a solid 4-hour project, maybe less if you had a better idea of what you were trying to do, but yeah, that's about it.